Welcome in, everybody. It is the Wednesday edition of Supernatural News. That means only one thing. We got to bring in a co-host. We need a co-host with the most. We need someone who can manage my eccentricities. That would be the one, the only, the Beer City Bruiser, who's back after a week. Hi. Well, actually, you were here yesterday for Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals. How you doing there, Beer City Bruiser?
Doing great, and I'm happy to be back. I'm finally rested after the big move and ready to go on this Wednesday afternoon.
Well, it's good to have you. It's good to have you. I think we almost set a record with yesterday's. We weren't going for length. There's a joke in there somewhere that we'll pull the trigger on before break. But we weren't going for length on Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals yesterday, but I think we set a record for length, an hour and 22 minutes.
I think it's because we were having fun.
Yeah.
Like, my wife made the comment, she goes, "You guys recorded for a long time, but you were laughing the whole time. Sound like you have fun." I said, "Yeah, that's when the best stuff comes out, when you're having fun and enjoying yourself." That's
true. That's very true. Very true. We're going to have some fun today, even though... Even though there's some, I shouldn't say serious stories in there this week. There are some serious stories in there this week, but some unusual stories at that. I'm almost thinking of calling this, after the Easter weekend, if you don't believe in Jesus, now you do, edition of Supernatural News. There's a couple of unusual stories that popped up after the Easter weekend that maybe the Savior is coming back.
Oh, okay.
You never know. AI, of course, is going to rear its ugly head this week. It always does now these days. And
it's trying to kill us. It's trying to kill us, Tim.
It's going to get at our food now, Bruiser. It's trying to get into our food. That's one of the stories this week. And then also a couple of cute animal stories. We'll wrap it up with a couple of cute animal stories. And not the cute animal story you sent me, my friend. That'll be towards
I can't wait to cover that one.
Yeah, that's what she said. But that'll be towards the end of the first segment. But we're going to end with a couple of cute animal stories and a couple of animal daily doubles there. That didn't sound right either. Darn it. Let's start with something that's closer to the end of the earth, shall we? Boy, that brought the room down quick, didn't it?
Yeah, the end of the earth, and we're supposed to be chipper now?
Well, yeah, I know. It's not a laughing matter. An interstellar object exploded over Earth in 2014. This according to a declassified government data. Not a, but some. Classified data prevented scientists from verifying their discovery for 3 years. This according to this article that I got in front of me right now. A fireball that blazed through the skies over Papua New Guinea in 2014 was actually a fast-moving object from another star system. Yikes. Yeah. Oops. Bet you. Yeah. We're probably better
star
off.
System, you lost something.
Yeah, exactly. We're probably better off not knowing this, don't you think?
There's the reason it was classified.
Yeah. This is why the government don't tell us everything,
I do like the name Papua New Guinea, though. That's a great name.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
When the New Guineans were naming their city, they were like, Papa. Yep, you got it. That's a great name for a city. This, according to a recent memo released by the U.S. Space Command, or USSC, the object was a small meteorite, just a small one, Bruiser, 1.5 feet across.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, but how
fast was it traveling?
To kind of tease our story at the end of this segment, if you were packing 1.5 feet, you'd pack a wallop too.
I would.
I would.
I don't think I'd be happily married if I was packing 1.5 feet.
That's right. If you got 1.5 feet of swinging death, by God, everyone you run into would probably be fearful.
That's an amazing name. 1.5 feet of swinging death.
That's right. It's actually borrowed from Tom Bernard here in the Twin Cities, but 1.5 feet of swinging death slammed into Earth's atmosphere, and she yelled, "Ouch!" On January 8th of 2014, after traveling through space at more than 130,000 miles an hour. That's a hell of a fastball.
That is.
Yeah, that it is. A speed that far exceeds the average velocity of meteors that orbit within the solar system, according to a 20 19 study of the object published in the preprint database. I'm not even going to name it. It's ARXIV. I never took Roman numerals in school.
No?
No, I took plenty of gym classes, but not Roman numerals.
We had Roman numerals. Like,
did you?
I'm trying to think. We got up to 50 with Roman numerals. So I can do 50, up to 50.
What's an ARXIV? ARX.
AR, I don't know what AR is, but XIV would be 14, I believe.
Okay. I don't know.
Yeah, because X is 10, IV is 4, so that'd be 14.
I just don't know what those. So it'd be AR14. AR14. There you go. That 2019 study argued that the wee meteor's speed, it ain't wee if it's 1.5 feet.
The wee meteor.
That's what it says here in the
It's
story.
the little person of meteors.
It is. It's the wee man of meteors. Along with the trajectory of its orbit, proved that 99% certainty, or with 99% certainty, that the object had originated far beyond our solar system, possibly from the deep interior of a planetary system or a star in the thick disk of the Milky Way galaxy, according to the authors. But despite their near certainty, the team's paper was never peer-reviewed or published in a scientific journal, as some of the data needed to verify their calculations were considered classified by the U.S. government, that according to Vice. Now USSC scientists have officially confirmed the team's findings in a memo dated March 1st and shared on Twitter on April 6th. Lieutenant General John E. Shaw, deputy commander of the USSC, wrote that the 2019 analysis of the fireball was sufficiently accurate to confirm an interstellar trajectory. Then this confirmation retroactively makes the 2014 meteor the first interstellar object ever detected in our solar system, the memo added. The object's detection predates the discovery of Oumuamua, if you remember that. Oumuamua, which is a now infamous cigar-shaped object that is also moving far too fast to have originated in our solar system. By the way, if it's cigar-shaped and it's moving that fast, you probably don't want to be caught bending over. Just want to say.
You don't want it in your deep, dark recesses.
That's right. You don't want to get caught from behind by Oumuamua. By 3 years, by the way. It predates it by 3 years. Unlike the 2014 meteor, Oumuamua was detected far from Earth and is already speeding out of the solar system because it's a fast cylindrical object. Amir Siraj, a theoretical astrophysicist at Harvard and the lead author of the 2019 paper, told Vice that he still intends to get the original study published so that the scientific community can pick up where he and his colleagues left off. Because the meteorite ignited over the South Pacific Ocean, it's possible that shards of the object landed in the water and have since nestled on the seafloor.
Oh, well, let's go down and get those. See what we can find out.
Yeah, make a nice bowl or cup or something like that. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Make you a souvenir that you can give to the kids. That's what I say.
You know how you go to a Bahamas or something, you get those shark tooth necklaces? Well, here you can get a meteorite necklace.
Ooh, yeah, like a little beaded necklace, but the middle bead is actually the meteorite?
Exactly.
Yeah, that'd be something you could pick up in the Bahamas or something, Something
nice. We've been to the Bahamas, so we've seen stuff like that.
Yeah, I would have bought that for $5-10. I wouldn't have paid more than 10.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah,
it's from a different planet. Why would you pay more than 10? You don't know what their currency is.
That's true. That's true. You got a point there. Our next story is a little bit of a mixed bag.
Okay.
It might hit you in the feels. It might hit you in the It might go, oh no. Like I said, it's a little bit of a mixed bag. A piece of the True Cross may have sunk with Russia's warship recently.
Oh no.
See? I told you. Yeah. Russia's Go F Yourself warship may have taken a priceless Christian relic to the bottom of the Black Sea.
Oh, come on now, Russia. Share that with everybody. We've been looking for that for years.
Now, why would you put it on a warship? That's my question.
They wanted to be blessed.
I guess, yeah. I mean, but okay, so you got a warship. You're going to go over and you're going to go pillage Ukraine. Why would you take the True Cross with you? I mean, I get it. You want good luck and all, and you think God's on your side and stuff, but don't take the cross with you.
It's like back in the day when they used to raid stuff. You have a holy artifact to protect you and your men. So that's what they did. I don't know why they'd take the true cross, like literally the symbol of faith.
How many fake crosses do they make a year? How many take a rosary with you? You know?
Well, they kind of did.
Well,
I mean, it's the original rosary.
I guess. The Russian...
I want to know how they found it, because they've been looking for that for years.
Putin's got connects, let me tell you. He really does.
And why was it just a piece? Like, why did they break just a piece off? Why not just take the whole thing?
Well, supposedly the true cross was broken down into slivers and pieces for quite a while. This is just the legend and lore.
Right.
The Templar had a piece for a while. There's a piece that's in a church, I think in Spain. There's another piece that's in a church in France. I mean, there are pieces that are everywhere. All over. Yeah. So, I mean, that there's one in a warship in Russia doesn't surprise me. I mean, it does, but it doesn't.
See, the other places you're describing, I expect a holy relic to be in a church.
Right.
The Templars. I get that. But you're right. A Russian warship? Like...
Yeah, that's a little unusual.
That doesn't fit the Church of the Templars.
No. The Russian cruiser-class warship Moskva, yes, now lies at the bottom of the Black Sea. It's possible that the ship was carrying a piece of the True Cross, a priceless relic some Christians believe is a sliver of wood taken from the cross used to crucify Jesus Christ. The Moskva was part of Russia's Black Sea Fleet and one of the largest ships in its entire navy. According to Ukraine, it struck the ship with a Neptune anti-ship cruise missile, which eventually caused it to sink. Russia has admitted the ship sank, but not that Ukraine struck it with a missile. However, it got there. The Moskva is now sinking to the bottom of the sea, and it's possibly taking a piece of the True Cross with it.
I like that they go, yeah, our ship sank, but Ukraine had nothing to do with it. We're not right. giving them any credit for that whatsoever.
It turns out we hit the iceberg.
we hit the rock and it sank. And lots of vodka. Lots of vodka.
And by rock, we mean Dwayne Johnson. In 2020, the Russian news agency TASS reported that the Russian Orthodox Church had acquired a piece of the cross and would place it on the Moskva. Okay, worst decision ever.
Yeah. Who is running the Russian Orthodox? Like, hey, we got this literally this holy relic that's a symbol of a whole religion. What are we going to do with it? Well, let's put it on a warship since we're in an active war right now with Ukraine.
Here is a good idea. We have piece of cross. We put it on a warship. Warship is made of metal.
Nothing bad will happen. We are Russia. We are strong.
Warship strong like Mother Russia. We put piece of cross on warship. I don't know.
Oh, it sank? My bad.
Oh, so very bad. This relic used to belong to a Catholic church, but was acquired by anonymous patrons of the arts. And it was their will to send the relic to the Black Sea Fleet. Oh, God.
Why?
Oh.
There's so many questions here.
Oh. This, according to, it just turns my stomach.
Yeah.
This, according to Sergei Kalyuda, who is the Russian Orthodox Church, he told it to TASS at the time, the Moskva cruiser has an onboard chapel where services take place. So, of course, that's where you're going to put the cross.
This explains why we'll never know the location of the Holy Grail or of the Covenant of the Ark, because they're just going to put it on warships.
You just hit on our next story, by the way.
All right.
We'll talk about that in a second. The use of relics, such as the alleged piece of the True Cross, dates back to the Middle Ages, when Christian churches would use them to draw parishioners and pilgrims to specific religious sites. True cross pieces are typically presented as pieces of wood embedded in ornate crosses or religious artwork. The Russian Orthodox Church has a close relationship with the military. Clergy frequently interact with soldiers and bless weapons as small as a rifle and as big as a nuclear weapon. How would you like to stand next to a nuclear weapon and go, Father, Son, Holy Ghost, amen. Let's get out of here now.
We leave now. It's blessed.
Trying not to fry my balls. Goodbye. It's impossible to know if the piece of the true cross made it off of the Moskva. Moskva. Let's get it straight. It did, however, take a long time to sink. It's a big ship, Bruiser.
It's a huge ship.
Yeah, you could probably take
big ship, little missile.
Well, we didn't want to comment, but you could probably take a few laps around it before she goes into the drink.
Do you think they got off the ship and went, now did somebody grab the cross? Please tell me somebody grabbed the cross.
No, Sergey, you forgot.
We have 4 hours before ship sinks. We can't get it.
Get this. The entire crew evacuated ahead of its departure to the bottom of the sea, so somebody could have grabbed it. Anybody could have.
Checklist. Vodka. Got
Vodka.
Got.
I got these.
Cross? Oh, no.
No. Oh, Boyshka, you forgot the cross. But I got all the sea rations. We're going to eat good.
Potatoes and vodka for everybody.
We are going to drink to the Moskva. It's quite possible someone recognized the value of the relic and might have gotten it off the sinking ship, but we don't know that for certain. So there you go.
Until we go on eBay and find it on eBay.
That's right. Look, sliver of true cross.
Rupees. It's yours. 400 rupees. You have.
He's all for you. To poop on? No, I don't know. I don't know. When I do the voice, I just think of Triumph, the comic insult dog.
Yeah?
Yeah. Speaking of, you brought up the subject of our next story.
Yeah, because this is why we don't know the location. Well, it's not public knowledge.
Or is it?
Oh, well, let's hear.
Is a cup on display in a Spanish cathedral the actual Holy Grail?
Ooh.
It figures it'd be in a cathedral, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, it's not on a warship.
That's right. Or is it? Maybe
exactly.
Maybe on the Moskva they were doing vodka shots out of the Holy Grail too, and that went to the bottom of the drink in the Black Sea.
You just named a new shot, a Holy Grail.
The Holy Grail.
Next time you go into a bar, I'd like a Holy Grail, please.
Sergey, here. Get and do the handstand. I am going to give you a shot out of the Holy Grail. Listen, he's going to be good. Some researchers believe that the long-sought relic is actually situated in Spain's Valencia Cathedral. If you're going to hide something, hide it in plain sight.
That's the best way to hide stuff.
Yeah.
I love when they do that. That's why Where's Waldo's so good. He's literally in plain sight.
That's right. Along with the other guys wearing red and white striped shirts. Who knew?
It reminds me, is that Indiana Jones where he goes in, he has to find the Holy Grail, and it's just a bunch of cups, and amongst other cups. Yep. Like, that makes total sense.
I just remember the one line from the movie, The Penitent Man, the Penitent Man, the Penitent Man, the Penitent Man. I used to say that when I would, you get a little backed up on the toilet and you rock back and forth. You just go, the Penitent Man, the Penitent Man, the Penitent Man. Then you're good.
I was told that if you hum, it helps.
If you hum? Really?
Yeah. If you just start humming, it'll loosen you up.
Really?
Yeah. And I've done it. I don't know if that's what caused me to go, but yeah, I was told on an overseas tour I was a little backed up, and Jeff Cobb said, try humming. And I said, what? He says, if you sit and you hum, it'll work. So I sat, I hummed, and out it came. So I don't know what scientific proof is behind it, but
was there a specific tune you hummed, or is it just?
Yeah, I did Star Spangled Banner. I don't know why.
So if you give yourself a hummer, you'll poop.
No.
Oh,
that's called a blumpkin, and no, we don't do that.
I thought a blumpkin was something else. Anyways, I digress.
We're way off track.
Yeah,
let's go back to the Holy Grail.
All right, well, let's get to the Holy Grail. Few artifacts have inspired more debate and intrigue throughout history than the fabled Holy Grail, the cup said to have once held the blood of Christ. There have been many interpretations of the Grail legend over the centuries, including one suggesting that it was in fact the wife of Jesus, Mary Magdalene, but the most common interpretation indicates that the Grail was a physical chalice or drinking vessel. Wouldn't that be something?
How disappointed are we going to be if it turns out just to be a regular like clay cup, not this glorious, like pimp cup? It's just like a regular
pimp cup. Yay!
You know what I mean? Like, how disappointed are we going to be that it's just this wooden cup?
I was going to go plastic, gigantic cup from Senior Frogs, but you and pimp cup on it. Yeah.
Well, that's like when I think Holy Grail, I think it's blinging with all these jewels, and
it's got Jesus on the side,
yeah,
Savior on the other.
It's gold, and it just like when you see it, like the gates of heaven open up, and angels sing. And now it could just be a wooden cup.
The sky opens up, Jesus appears, and he goes, "You got my cup, playa."
He's got a fur coat on with a pimp hat.
Good looking out.
Jesus with his pimp walk.
With a cane.
Which is made from the cross.
And then, yeah, exactly. It's the remaining bit of the cross. And then when you go to try and take it, he actually puts a little powder in his hand and
slaps you.
Gives you a Will Smith. Yeah. Well, actually, he hits harder than Will Smith.
Does he?
Yeah.
Okay.
That wasn't even a slap. Come on.
No, it wasn't.
No. But I digress. Anyways, where were we? Yes. Okay, so the search for the cup's whereabouts is now so legendary that it has become synonymous with the search for anything valuable or revolutionary. However, to date, its location remains elusive, with historians unable to even agree on whether it even existed at all. In recent years, however, some historians have grown to believe that an ancient cup, which currently sits on display in Spain's Valencia Cathedral, might be the very thing they've been searching for.
How do they test that? Do they do carbon dating? I mean, how does one go about is that primarily like, okay, this goes back to the time of Jesus?
Carbon dating, and then they take their finger and go,
Thousands of year old blood tastes great.
Legend indicates that so gross. Legend indicates that the Holy Grail is comprised of two parts: a cup made of reddish brown agate stone and a carved gold reliquary on which the cup sits. Boy, they really got it down. They think they know what they're looking for.
Yeah, they think.
Why do they think there's gold involved? Like you said, I just think it's
from all the stories you hear of Jesus, he wasn't a blinged out guy. He was just a regular guy walking around among the people. Like, why would he have?
It's supposed to be a carpenter's cup.
Exactly. Why would he have a pimp cup? Like he would.
Previous analysis has suggested that the cup in Valencia dates back to the time of Jesus and originated in Egypt or Palestine, the only places where this particular agate can be found. Curator Jose Ventegera, who is as knowledgeable as anyone can be on the subject, suggests that the Grail may have been taken when St. Mark fled Jerusalem during the Roman invasion of 70 CE. After settling in Rome, he argues the Grail was passed down between various popes before ending up in Valencia sometime in the 15th century. As things stand, however, it is almost impossible to know for sure if any of this is true. There you go.
I hope it is. That'd be cool.
It would be. It would be. But then again, like you said, carbon dating and a little swish of the finger around. See if maybe that's the actual.
I get we want these holy relics to be these larger than life things, but if you think of the time period, and like I said, Jesus wasn't a guy that walked around with all this stuff, He was a carpenter. He was a poor man. So why would he have this huge chalice? You know what I mean? Like,
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Unless, well, then again, it was a ceremony at the Last Supper. So I don't know. Right? It'd be cool. It'd be cool if that was the Holy Grail, but that might also cause problems because we've already had how many holy wars over stuff. And if they actually find the Holy Grail, like that could just invite a whole bunch of problems we don't want.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there'd be quite the issue if if all of a sudden you find although, I think in this day and time, I mean, let's face it, you've got so many different factions of the world that worship other deities. Would there really be a holy war over a Holy Grail? You think?
I think, yeah, because it's one of those things where you have something I want and you're not giving it to me, so I'm going to go take it. And I don't think the whole world will be involved, but I do think there'll be some sort of battle for it.
Really?
I do. And that's a bad way to look at it. I wish we all could just get along, but
between who and who though? Who battles for that?
I don't see. That's a good question. Is who would, But there's enough Orthodox, Christians and Catholics and all that. Like, I don't know who would battle for it. Battle Catholics would be involved.
Battle of the network Jesus stars. There's something.
It's like a giant American warrior, but the Holy Grail's at the end of it.
There's something you never saw on ABC back in the day. Battle.
Hey, there's a good match that we could put from an underwater needlepoint. Holy Grail on a pole match.
Oh, Holy Grail! That's a Vince Russo thing, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, I remember those deals. Oh my gosh, there's a new story right here that we can tie into that last story.
All right.
I didn't. This is an unexpected deal. A priest in upstate New York believes that his church received a divine message over the weekend in the form of a peculiar marking, which he argues was an image of Jesus, mysteriously appeared on the floor of the building.
Okay.
Father Stepanos, I believe it's Dukian. It's a long last name. Reportedly made the remarkable discovery on Sunday morning, just prior to the start of Easter services at St. Peter Armenian Church in the community of Waterviet, something like that. Much to the priest's profound surprise, as he was opening the building to parishioners, he noticed a rather strange water stain had formed on the floor of the lobby, and the curious discoloration resembled what he took to be Jesus Christ. It was an Easter miracle and an apparition of the Lord, said the priest, and declared that to a local media outlet. Many of our faithful were awestruck by this as well and made the sign of the cross and thanked God upon entering. To that end, the priest indicated that the parish decided to burn incense at the location where the marking had appeared as a way of showing their appreciation for the potentially miraculous message. Much like many a mysterious apparition, the uplifting marking subsequently faded away just a few hours later, though the impact was seemingly felt throughout the church. With all the ugly, evil, war, and sickness in the world, he mused, perhaps we need the face of Jesus to assure us of God's love. That's nice.
Jesus sure does like coming back in watermarks and burnt toast. Because anytime you hear about a picture of the Mother Mary or the Virgin Mary or of Jesus, it's always a watermark or someone's burnt toast.
My favorite one was a Cheeto. You remember that one?
Yes, I forgot about that one.
Yeah, there was the Cheeto.
And do you think they lit the incense because of the holiness, or just because it was a water stain and it smelled like sewage? I know I shouldn't be joking about it, but come on.
We're gonna get so much crap for the Jesus jokes. I was trying to be all nice there at the end and be like, "Oh, image of Jesus, that's really cool." And you're like, "You remember that?"
I totally ruined it. I'm sorry. Send the hate mail to me, everybody, not Tim.
I guess you're asking for it there, huh?
You know what? I made a mistake and I'm owning up to it.
That's okay. We still love you, Bruiser.
Thank you.
That's for sure.
I'm still cute and cuddly.
Yes, you are. You're still cute and cuddly. You're still kind of eating that up, huh?
Oh, I am. I haven't let it go since you told me. I don't even know who said it. You just said that you got that. Every day I point out that I'm cute and cuddly.
I'll forward you the email. You can take and frame it and hold it over the wife's head.
I will.
Yeah.
And it's not just the wife. It's everybody. It's my kids. It's I went and got gas the other day. I told the gas station attendant. It's everybody.
You're like, hey, check this out. I'm cute and cuddly.
Yeah.
There was one other story here. For some reason, it doesn't want to pop up for me. That's what she said.
It's the worst when that doesn't pop up when you want it to.
Isn't it? It's those awkward times when you're really working to get that up and it just doesn't want to pop up for you.
When you're doing everything you can, you're clicking on stuff and it's just not popping.
That's right. And it's an intriguing story too, and it has to do with Notre Dame Cathedral and a sarcophagus that
this is what they found underneath it, right?
Yes, and
because they're doing the renovations out there and they found something. I watched this on the news the other day at the gym and I was very intrigued by it.
Yep, and they're planning on here we go. It just came up now. That's what he said. Mysterious sarcophagus found in Notre Dame Cathedral back in 2019 after the devastating fire there will be open to reveal its secrets. The well-preserved leaden sarcophagus, this thing is made of lead, folks. That's how it survived the fire, was uncovered during work to rebuild. All of a sudden, I'm from Dutch heritage. Rebuild the cathedral's ancient spire. It's believed to date from the 14th century, but could have been an extremely rare burial practice at the time. I think the reason they're so enamored with this thing is because you would either have to have been like in the upper echelon of the church at the time, or you would have had to have been I don't want to say a deity because you're not a deity at that point in the Catholic Church, or a saint. You might have been a saint at that time to be buried in a lead sarcophagus.
And actually on the grounds of the cathedral too.
Yeah.
They haven't opened it yet, have they?
No. It's coming up, though. French archaeologists made the announcement on Thursday, just a day before the third anniversary of the Inferno that engulfed the 12th century Gothic landmark, which shocked the world and led to a massive reconstruction project. During preparatory work to rebuild the church's ancient spire last month, workers found the well-preserved leaden sarcophagus buried 65 feet underground, lying among the brick pipes of a 19th century heating system. It's believed to be much older, however, possibly from the 14th century. Scientists have already peered inside the sarcophagus using an endoscopic camera. It's the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable there, Bruiser. Revealing the upper part of a skeleton, a pillow of leaves, perhaps hair, textiles, and dry organic matter. Here's the problem: when that hits the air,
it's going to disintegrate.
Yeah, unless they have a way of doing this. The sarcophagus.
I'm sure they probably have some sort of pressure room or something. They've opened enough sarcophagus over the years. I'm pretty sure they perfected the science now.
Yeah.
I'm more worried about curses, because anytime we open up a sarcophagus, something happens.
You know what the big Catholic curse is here, right?
No, what's that?
Guilt. So yeah, it's just guilt. That's all it is. Yeah.
Oh, we shouldn't have opened that.
Old-fashioned Catholic guilt. The sarcophagus, which is 1.95 meters or 6 foot 4 inches long and 1 foot 6 inches wide, was extracted from the cathedral on Tuesday. France's INRAP National Archaeological Research Institute said in a press conference it's currently being held in a secure location and will be sent very soon, it just says, to the Institute of Forensic Medicine in the southwestern city of Toulouse, something like that. My French is rusty. Forensic experts and scientists will then open the sarcophagus and study its contents to identify the skeleton's gender and former state of health. Lead archaeologist Christophe Besnier is who it is, said, adding that carbon dating technology could be used, noting that it was found under a mound of earth that had furniture from the 14th century. Besnier said, "It turns out that it is in fact a sarcophagus from the Middle Ages. We are dealing with an extremely rare burial practice." They also hope to determine the social rank of the deceased. Given the place and style of burial, they were likely to be among the elite of their time, with their name perhaps appearing in the register of the burials of the diocese. However, INRAP head Dominique Garcia emphasized that the body will be examined and in compliance with French laws regarding human remains. A human body is not an archaeological object, he said. As human remains, the civil code applies, and archaeologists, which again, wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable, Archaeologists will study it as such. Once they have finished studying the sarcophagus, it will be returned not as an archaeological object, there we go, but as an anthropological asset. However, it has not yet been decided whether Notre Dame will serve as its final resting place. INRAP said the possibility of reinterment in the cathedral was being studied. The sarcophagus is not the only notable discovery at Notre Dame. Notre Dame. Yeah, they went to Indiana with this thing.
Yep. Fighting Irish.
That's right. Archaeologists have also unearthed a treasure trove of statues, sculptures, tombs, and pieces of an original rood screen dating back to the 13th century. Until now, only a few pieces remained of the rood, an ornate partition between the chancel and nave that separated the clergy and choir from the congregation. Some of these are in the cathedral storerooms, while others are on show in the Louvre. In Catholic churches, most were removed during the Counter-Reformation in the 16th and 17th centuries. However, large pieces of the Notre Dame rood appeared to have been carefully interred under the cathedral floor during the building's restoration in the mid-19th century. These included sculpted and polychrome fragments, figures, and religious architectural elements. One of the most of the spire, that is. One of the most extraordinary pieces is an intact sculpture of the head of a man believed to be a representation of Jesus. The style of the sculpture and decoration suggests that they date back to the 13th century. Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Unlike those preserved in the Louvre, however, these fragments are more brightly painted. So really, they've been stored away quite nicely for quite a long time.
And it's a shame that the cathedral had to start on fire, but look at all the stuff they're finding doing these renovations, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was a devastating fire, but...
It was, but silver lining is now we're getting all these different artifacts and learning more about the actual Notre Dame, you know? We were talking
about different slivers of things, like the sliver of the true cross.
Yeah.
At the summit of the spire were held three relics: a tiny piece of the crown of thorns located in the treasury of the cathedral, and relics of Denis and Saint Genevieve, patron saints of Paris. Which my name, Dennis, is from Saint Denis Tarangelo.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're related somehow.
I just think the name is...
What's this, the namesake?
Yeah, it's the namesake. Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm not saying I'm related to a saint by any means. But yeah.
Which do you think is more valuable, a sliver of the crown of thorns or a sliver of the actual cross?
I think they both hold equal value.
Do you think they're equal? Because he touched both?
Yeah. It says the crown of thorns was one of the great relics of medieval Christianity. It was acquired by King Louis IX of France in Constantinople in AD 1239 for the price of 135,000 lira, I believe, nearly half the annual expenditure of France.
Oh, wow.
I think the crown of thorns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's not on a warship somewhere.
No, like it's not at the bottom of the Black Sea.
Country.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Yeah. It says the elaborate reliquary in which just one of the thorns is housed sits in the cathedral, having been moved from the Sainte-Chapelle Church in Paris. The thorn is mounted on a large sapphire in the center. The crown itself is also held in the cathedral and is usually on view to the public on Good Friday, which came at the end of last week. So
yeah.
Yeah.
One day a year you can see it, huh?
Yeah.
I'd be interested in going. Like I'm a huge history buff. I love that kind of stuff, and it'd be really cool to see.
Yeah, there's some amazing things, and I think as a society, we think, oh yeah, it's imaginary stuff. It's just stuff of fable, stuff that we hear about, but
no, it actually happened. It's an actual artifact.
It's there. So
yep.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Let's see here. Where are we at in our stories? We've gotten in let's do 2 more stories and then your story, Bruiser, and then we'll go to break. Let's talk a little bit about, is this the, let me think here. Oh, this is UFO stuff. Is it UFO stuff we want to get into here? Yeah. Although I think we're going to do one UFO story here, and then I think we're going to go to break. This story actually is a little aged, but it's still good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Aged is okay.
It has to do with a warship as well. A U.S. warship.
They have a UFO and a warship, and now it's sinking?
Yes, and now it's sinking. U.S. warship was chased by 2 car-sized balls of light.
Oh, okay.
If I had 2 car-sized balls, I'd do whatever I wanted.
Or go see a doctor.
Or yeah, by that time I might be screwed. A U.S. Navy warship was shadowed by 2 car-sized balls of light that were unaffected by anti-drone weapons. It's claimed the USS, it's Kearsarge,
Kearsarge?
Yeah, is the latest vessel to have reportedly had a UFO encounter as the U.S. military begins to open up about the mysterious phenomenon. I could hit that button, but it's on the other button bar.
Do they? Why did they fire on it? That's what I'm curious about. Like, was their first instinct to, hey, let's shoot these things? They're following us?
I guess. Yeah. Documentary filmmaker Dave C. Beatty, who produced 2019's film The Nimitz Encounters, about the famous 2004 U.S. Navy encounter with the Tic Tac object, revealed the reported sighting from October of 2021. At least 2 objects are said to have lurked near the 40,500-ton amphibious assault ship for several nights while it was on a training exercise off the east coast of the U.S. Man, it's just begging me to hit this button. It's just begging me to hit the button, Bruiser.
Phenomena.
Yeah, this one right here.
Phenomena.
The phenomena described by sources familiar with the encounter as odd and menacing balls of light are said to have been following around half a mile behind the ship and around 200 feet above the ocean.
Oh, wow.
It was close.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beatty was contacted by a now retired U.S. Marine officer identified only as Mark regarding the strange episode. The USS Kearsarge has been training at the time ahead of an overseas deployment, including with systems designed to take down enemy drones. The weapons included anti-drone Ghostbusters-style backpacks and systems mounted on vehicles. The pictures from the ship's public Facebook page reveal they have a public Facebook page, but they're practicing anti-drone technology.
Yep. Exactly.
Okay, that's a little weird. Reveal that they had capabilities on board at the time of the alleged encounter. The objects are said to have been spotted at night by the deck watch, who could not gain a thermal targeting lock on them, which is even stranger. It is understood the incident was recorded on video by the crew, but this footage has not yet been released. Marines on board are said to have believed at first the unexplained objects were part of a surprise training exercise for the new anti-drone weapons. However, they discovered the countermeasures did not disrupt the objects, which were doing swooping maneuvers as they followed the ship. Mark told Beatty the USS Kearsarge radioed command about the objects and were informed the objects were not ours. The documentarian is attempting a deeper dive into the event, which is the latest UFO incident reported to have been encountered by the U.S. Navy. Beatty previously revealed deck logs that confirmed a UFO encounter by the USS Kidd when the destroyer was swarmed by at least 4 unexplained objects in July of 2019. And there's been a series of changes in recent years after the infamous trio of U.S. Navy UFO videos, the Gimbal, Go Fast, and Tic Tac. The footage stunned the world and remains unexplained and has sparked a new, more mainstream interest in UFOs. U.S. officials have set up a new office in the Pentagon, putting an official reporting structure in place for UFO encounters for the first time in decades. It came after a landmark report on the subject and was released last summer after confirming dozens of unexplained encounters, now more commonly referred to as unidentified aerial
phenomena. UAP.
UAP. Defense insiders, intelligence officials, senators, and former presidents have all gone on record admitting that there is an unexplained something in the skies. So what was once were UAP sightings that were ignored or never logged, today more service members are reporting them. This leads to indications that more are being observed, Beatty told The Sun Online. He added that the stigma around reporting these strange events is now breaking down. Beatty said in the past it was much worse. Officers would actively avoid reporting or speaking about cases of UAP as the fear of career suicide is very real, or was very real. Also, landing a job with a commercial airline after the military was a concern. Not wanting to report or speak about UAP encounters was a given. Today, it's a bit more relaxed since the UAP task force is actively seeking UAP reports and frowning on any stigmatization with the units. The documentarian also called for further transparency from the military on the topic. Anything that would expose a military weakness or military capability, of course, is sensitive, but if these objects turn out to be not man-made and not foreign state actors, we need to be open and address these with academic study, empirical methods, and grant funding to conduct research at the university level, he told The Sun Online. While I commend our DoD and officers for handling the collection of data, at some point we need to focus public attention on the mysterious question of what these objects are, that is, the ones that have defied prosaic explanation after investigations. There you go.
I'm glad that the military is opening up about that so that guys, servicemen and women, don't have to worry about their careers if they see something. You know, like it's not, like you said, it's not career suicide anymore. And it also leads me to believe, I know we're always looking up into space for the UAPs, but what about underwater? You know,
yeah.
We've heard numerous stories of things emerging from the water. These were only 200 feet above the sea chasing the ship. You know, I'm curious to see if maybe they came from underwater, you know, and that's how they did it.
Right. One more quick one before we go to your story here, Bruiser. It turns out that there's a calling from outer space. A brain machine could hear alien signals by 2030. An enormous radio telescope will begin scanning the night sky for signals sent by aliens by the end of the decade. The Square Kilometer Array, or the SCA, I love listening to ska, by the way, will boast a staggering 197 dishes and 130,000 antennas located across South Africa and Australia.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That is a lot.
It's designed to pick up radio signals, both natural and alien-made, that are too faint for current telescopes to detect. Construction kicked off last year, and ahead of its opening in 2025, researchers are now developing the software required to power it. According to BBC News, a team of British scientists is building a prototype brain for SCA, which will be the world's biggest radio telescope. It will be tested on a portion of the infrastructure before being rolled out across the network. The artificial brain will help parts of the network communicate across continents and represents a huge computing challenge, according to Dr. Chris Pearson, astronomy group leader at RAL Space. He told that to the BBC. He says, we're talking something like 600 petabytes or 660 million gigabytes per year of data coming out of the SCA to be delivered to astronomers worldwide. So it's a scaling problem. It's a processing problem. It's a data transfer problem, he went on to say. The SCA Observatory is a $1.84 billion project, international project, that's 30 years in the making. So rather than a single telescope, it's an array of dishes and antennas that together will gather radio waves from the darkest recesses of space. And when it starts operating in the late 2020s, the telescope will allow scientists to peer into the early universe in unprecedented detail. It will be able to gather low-frequency radio waves that date back nearly 14 billion years to the birth of the cosmos. On top of that, scientists will use the telescope to attempt to detect extremely weak extraterrestrial radio signals, should they exist at all. Astrologists will use that technology to hunt for amino acids, the building blocks of life on distant planets and asteroids, by identifying their special signatures at specific frequencies. The SKA's various dishes and antennas will be connected to one another so that they can share vast quantities of data. To do that, they'll have to operate in perfect harmony to communicate with each other across sites in South Africa's Karoo region and West Australia's Murchison's Shire, among other things.
You're going to get that one guy that likes to joke and play Huey Lewis in the news. So everyone's
right.
like, what?
Yeah. Except the B square. What is this? They love Huey Lewis in the news and the
aliens love Huey Lewis?
We do too. By the way, will you sit on that tarp? That's a American Psycho joke.
Yes.
In case you didn't catch on to that, kids. Is my business card better than yours? I don't know. Let's look. Is that an outdated joke?
No, I 100% get it. And I love it because they had that whole 5-minute discussion about business cards in that movie.
I know. Some people get it. Some people don't.
If you guys have not seen American Psycho, go see it. It is a classic movie. Christian Bale is amazing in it. Yeah, the book is fantastic too.
Yes, indeed.
And it's truly, even though it was made in the 90s, wasn't it? But it's based in the 80s.
Yeah. And that one scene is just creepy.
Oh yeah, with him describing the Huey Lewis in the news, always got the axe, and he's putting the raincoat on. And
yeah, that's a creepy scene.
Yeah.
All right, Bruiser. On my Facebook page, which, by the way, folks, if you don't know how to follow me on Facebook, that's pretty good. No, I'm kidding. You can follow me on Facebook. It's did I change my handle? It might still be like Tim Dennis 737. I'm not quite sure. The link is on darknessradio.com if you don't know. You can follow me there on Facebook. Bruiser put up a story, which I wake up in the morning.
It makes sense.
It makes sense. I wake up in the morning. I check my social media. I take a look at it. Says, "Hey, Bruiser posted on your page." I went, "Oh, great, that's great." So
just looking out for you, man.
I went, "Oh, this is wonderful. I wonder what Bruiser posted on my page." I wake up and this story is on my page, and I damn near fell out of bed laughing. And here it is. This story came from Frank Poofy Pants Catarino. And it says, fun fact, back in the early days of exploration, many travelers would simply draw what they saw since the means to study photographs didn't exist yet. This is where many deep-sea monster stories come from. Oh, interesting fact.
See? Right up your alley.
Right up my, well, so to speak. As it turns out, many of these drawings depicted tentacled and alien-esque appendages merging from the water, giving belief to something sinister lurking beneath. Kind of like the Loch Ness Monster.
Yep.
Now, I'm looking at 4 photographs attached to this article.
And they make sense.
And they all look like the famous photo of the Loch Ness Monster in shadow, where you see the Loch Ness Monster's head craning out of the water. And you go, oh, you remember that famous creepy photo? It was in the opening montage for In Search of with Leonard Nimoy. And you were like,
it was, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. And you go, oh my gosh, that is the creepiest ever. But then you see very clearly 3 other pictures around it that look similar to it. And you go, oh my gosh, that is plain as day. There's something coming out of the water.
It sure is.
The next sentence, though, totally shoots down anything that looks like it could be the Loch Ness Monster. Here is the next.
It's a monster. Don't get me wrong. It's a monster.
Oh, it's a monster, all right. Because the next sentence says, however, many cases, it was just whale dicks.
Yes, it was. But if you look at the photos, the whale dick looks like the Loch Ness Monster.
That it does. It goes on to say whales often mate in 3s. So while one male is busy with the female, boom, chicka, bow, wow, the other male just pops his dick out of the water while swimming around waiting his turn.
And if you're on the sea for a long time and you see a whale dick come up, you don't see the whale, you're going to think sea monster.
Literally. So there you go. The more you know. Dun, 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 dun.
I'm just looking out for you, helping you get stories, Tim. That's all I'm trying to do.
And you did. You definitely got me a story.
And it made your day. You said you laughed when you woke up. So.
You almost made me have a senior moment where I had to go to the hospital. I almost broke a hip. Laughing so hard that
Oh, could you imagine trying to explain that to the nurse?
Yeah.
So Mr. Dennis, how'd you break your hip? I was looking at a bunch of whale dicks and fell out of bed.
I saw a bunch of whale dicks on my Facebook, and here I am. Well, Mr. Dennis, you might want to control your laughter from now on.
Oh, I love it.
Boy, wouldn't that be something? When we come back here on Supernatural News, we'll be talking about how a near-death experience taught a woman how to live better. That's one of the stories that's coming up. Everything's coming up quantum. That's another story we'll cover. Robots are trying to take over your food. AI is back in the news. And we've got the world's oldest Chihuahua. And another animal has screwed up an animal psychic live on TV. We'll hear the audio. It's coming up next on the best in paranormal podcasting and a Supernatural News Wednesday right here on Darkness Radio. Welcome back to the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. I'm Tim Dennis, and with Beer City Bruiser on a Supernatural News Wednesday. Bruiser, I don't think I've ever talked to you about whether you've had a near-death experience or not.
I have not had a near-death experience, knock on wood, but I've met people that have, and I've talked to people that have, and their experience, and it's fascinating to me. I think it's just amazing. Not amazing, but just the experience you can have when you have a near-death experience. There's one woman by the name of Georgina Skull who wrote an article in The Guardian, and she had an ectopic pregnancy that ruptured. Ooh. Yeah. And she's been speaking to people around the world facing death and discovered the regrets that they all want to, that they want all of us to learn from. I can speak English. I can. I've been doing it for years. And essentially, this is what it comes down to. And I'm going to paraphrase the article here. She says that she's not sure if she ever fully appreciated her life until she lost it. In fact, she's sure that she didn't. On the surface, everything was good. She was married, living overseas with her 2-year-old daughter. There was food on the table, roofs over her head and her family's head, but felt like she was drifting. She was just going through life, constantly waiting for her real life to start. Then at 37, she had an ectopic pregnancy, which ruptured and she nearly died. That was about 10 years ago, and it should have been the start of her second chance. That jolt got her going, and she was afraid it wasn't. She said she was alive, but she still wasn't really living. She said, I still seem to be stuck in all the things I hadn't done over the years. Rather than enjoying all the things that I did, as the days and weeks passed, my regrets just grew. Part of the problem was that my list of good things, the marriage, the family, wasn't completely accurate. There's a lot of good in my life, but there was other stuff going on as well under the surface. I was heading towards 40 without a career, in a relationship that didn't quite work, and living in a place that didn't really feel like home. Basically, I was unhappy. Why do we drift through life, planning for tomorrow but not living for today? Why do we stay in relationships that no longer make us content, or in jobs that fill us with dread? Why do we allow our doubts to stop us from trying new things, or let people treat us so badly? She said, I wanted to find out the answers to all of these questions because I wanted to live differently. I didn't want to be stuck anymore. I wanted to work out what we regret and how we could all learn to regret a little bit less. So after yet more drift, we moved back to the UK, and I decided to face it head on. I decided that rather than look to myself for answers, I would look outward and listen to other people face their own mortality. Not really people who were recovering from a near-death experience like me,
but people who were living with a terminal or life-limiting illness, or were over the age of 70. People who wanted to talk about the choices they made and the things that they wanted the rest of us to realize before it was too late. I put up notices in local libraries and community centers. I got in touch with support groups and online forums asking those who wanted to talk to get in touch. And they did, from all over the world and from many different backgrounds. The youngest was 28, and the oldest was 94. We met in person, connected over the phone, and in some cases, when talking was too hard with them, via email. And what started as a mission for answers has turned into a book, a collection of 21 stories of regret from around the world to help those of us who find ourselves at a similar crossroads in life. Stories about love, family, and secrets, about last words spoken and regrets within grief. And that is what happened to me. I listened to what everyone had to say, then listened to myself, and finally managed to move on. Alan had spent decades building a successful career, chasing promotion after promotion. But after he was diagnosed with an incurable brain tumor at 49, it took him less than 6 months to realize that he had wasted most of his life and wished that he had taken a different path. Sid was 73 when I spoke to him, and living with asbestosis in his lungs. He told me how in his early 20s, he had ended a relationship with a woman whom he would soon regard as the love of his life. He went on to spend the next 50 years wondering what he could have been and regretting his decision to leave. Anthea had been raised to think she wasn't enough, that she had to diet to be slimmer and use sunbeds to be browner, sunbeds that would lead to her developing terminal melanoma in her mid-40s, which then spread to her major organs and sadly cut her life short. Katie was diagnosed with bowel cancer at 31 and died just a year later, leaving behind 2 young children and a loving husband. Alan taught me that we shouldn't worry about the things we can't control. Sid showed me that you should always follow your heart or risk losing it. Anthea explained that we are enough, just the way we are, even though we can't always see it in ourselves. And Katie wanted us to appreciate that all that we had, but probably took for granted, just as I had all those years ago. She wanted the privilege of growing old with her partner and the chance to watch her kids grow up. But when she knew she was running out of time, it became clear that it was the little moments in life that she would come to treasure the most, that there was no bucket list to tick off or grand plans left to do, that they all fell away when the reality of her situation became undeniable, that she wanted to be there to see her kids enjoy Christmas, to help celebrate their birthdays, and to go to the beach and watch them play. Katie wanted us to appreciate the everyday moments because in the end, she felt they were the things that we will remember and cherish and hold the closest. And that's why I realized after talking to all these different people that when we look back, what we treasure the most isn't the grand holidays, the promotions, or the adventures that I'd always longed for. That in the end, it's those little moments that we dismiss so easily that make our lives so very, very big. She goes on to say, my life isn't perfect now. Hard moments still exist. Tricky decisions still have to be made, and I still find myself worrying that I'm going to fail or not be good enough. But my regrets don't consume me anymore. They don't fill all my quiet moments because I can see them for what they are. Decisions made for the right reasons at the time and choices taken to try to rewrite history in the situations I found myself in. And once you can see the connections between your actions and the reasons for them, somehow they feel less overwhelming. They feel less like a sign that you failed and more like a normal human reaction you can learn from. Now I listen to my gut. Now the choices I make no longer bind me to a long list of second guesses. I took control of my life and started to make all of the changes that were long overdue, thanks to listening to the advice of the people I spoke to. I had been estranged from my mom for a number of years, and I managed to find a way for us to reconnect before it was too late. I stopped worrying so much about my work being rejected and started sending it out instead. And after decades of yo-yo dieting, I started practicing moderation and slowly and gradually lost more than 50 pounds and kept it off. But the biggest and most life-altering change I made was the decision to end my 22-year relationship. After 4 years of courtship and 18 years of marriage, it was time to call it a day. We had tried and tried to make it work, but it just wasn't working anymore, and neither of us was happy. So after years of hesitation, we separated and became friends who co-parent instead. We are now a family in 2 happier parts. He comes around for pancakes and we spend holidays together, and once a year, on what would have been our wedding anniversary, we have a family day, a day out to enjoy and celebrate all the positive things that we've shared. The moment when I nearly died and all the time I've spent listening to people talk about their own regrets, finally we made it click out of, finally made me click out of screensaver mode. It made me realize that we need to change the things that no longer make us happy and try to fully appreciate all the things that do. Living with regrets can finally feel like a very negative thing, and yet they can also, if kept in perspective, act as a reminder of all the things we want to do and all the things we need to change if we just listen to them. Hearing all these amazing stories has helped me understand all that. I hope that maybe reading about them will help others to see it too.
It's a very motivational story.
Yeah. And that's Georgina Skull who wrote that in The Guardian.
I've always, when I was at a young age, I met someone that was terminally ill, and I remember the conversation was, live life to the fullest, take a risk, take chances, because you only get one life to live, so make it the best life you can. And I've kind of lived by that, and that's why I've done what I've done, pursuing my dreams and following that. And it's good to hear that this lady too, like that whole story was all about that, to focus on the positive, not the negative. We're going to have negative days. Everyone is. Yeah. You and I were speaking about that. I think it was yesterday where, it's all about positive mindset, and people listening to this, take that to heart. Like, live life the fullest. If you're worried about something, you're worried about a big move or talking to somebody about a promotion or something, do it. The worst thing that they can say is no. And, you're going to fail, but the failures teach us how to be successful. And because of our failures, the successes are more sweet. I failed a lot through life, but I've had more success than failures. And because of those failures, the successes are that much more sweeter, and I'm able to celebrate them. And that's kind of like what she's saying, she got divorced and stuff, but look at how they're co-parenting and they're teaching their kids you can still be happy and they're still a family. And very, very motivational article.
Very much so. Very much so. We got a little thing here on Supernatural News we do called Parashare. And we got a couple of different Parashare deals here. We got 2 of them today to cover. Let's do one now. You want to do one now?
I'm ready. I love Parashare. I love hearing people's experiences. I don't know if I've told you, but lately at the underwater needlepoint stuff, I've had fans of the show come up and share with me some of their experiences, and I love it. If you see me at a show and you want to talk paranormal, come on up. Let's do it. I love that.
Sasounds good. Yeah, let's do this one. I don't know if I'm supposed to give this person's name out. I don't think I'm going to. It says, "Hi there, Tim." It's no slight on you, Bruiser. It just says, "Hi there,
That's
Tim.
Fine.
I want to tell you my story about the haunted house I have grown in. This house is located in, I don't know how to pronounce this Canadian name. It's next to the Texas border. We'll just put it that way. And that's how it's written. As weird as all of this
Wait, did you say Canadian border, but it's next to Texas?
You don't know the joke?
No.
Oh, come on, Bruiser. How long have you been
I'm lost on this. I'm lost on this. I'm sorry.
Okay.
In my head, I'm doing like the geography. Like, no, that's not right.
If I have to explain the joke, it's not a joke.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So the deal is, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, Bruiser, I used to joke around with the audience that it was up in Canada, right next to the Texas border. It's a geography joke that
I got you.
Yeah, and so it became a thing where I used to tell people that Canada has the best barbecue because it's right next to Texas.
Okay,
it's a geography joke because they're on opposite ends of North.
I get it. I just wasn't in on the joke, but now I am, and now it's great. So continue.
Okay, right next to the Texas border. As weird as all of this may seem, I swear that it is all true as I can recall. All right. It all began with weird poltergeist activity. The kitchen hood fan would start on its own. And in the 80s, this was a physical switch that you had to press in and start it. I get it because we had one too.
We did too.
This makes it more unlikely to be an electrical default. My sister would put on some makeup for a night out, and the faucets of the sink would open by themselves right in front of her. Well, that's weird.
Yeah.
My mom went out for walks only to see, when coming back, mocking ghost in the windows of the house. Weird. There was an old hag and a disapproving old man in the back. There was a forest in the back of the house. My mom fed feral cats out back. She once saw a shadow animal that growled at her. She told me it resembled a Wolverine and not the one that was in the X-Men version. For that one, probably was a wild animal. Things got a lot worse when I got around 10. This guy writes, I had night terrors and nightmares. An orc-type creature would be in my dreams and tried to strangle me. He tied me once to a giant skateboard and thrown me down the stairs. I couldn't yell or scream. In the dream, I had once the capacity to yell, but a cork spewed out of my mouth with a lot of blood.
Oh.
Ew.
That's a way to be silenced.
Yeah. I would wake up only to wake up in another nightmare. When I woke up for real, I opened my lamp and a ball of darkness would hover on the ceiling around me.
That's the worst, when you think you're waking up from a dream and you're actually just in another dream. I've had that experience, so I know what he's experiencing.
Yeah. It went away only to come back the next day. In another nightmare, black tentacles would come out of the walls to strangle me. Ew.
Yeah.
On another summer night, a strange thing happened. I was hearing people playing ping pong outside. It came from a window, so I got up, went to the window, only for the sound of the game to change place and come from another window. I went looking for the new origin of the sound, only for it to change place again. After a few times, I got tired of the ghostly prank and judged it was not dangerous and went back to bed. In the same summer, I saw a UFO in the sky in the middle of the day, a pure white disc just hovering there. I called my mom to have a look at it, only for it to disappear and look foolish. The horrifying moment in the house was when I woke up in the middle of the night. I opened my eyes only to see a grisly man floating in the air with small fly-like wings. When his head turned to meet my gaze, I was instantly terrified. This thing had the head of a fly.
Ooh.
Yeah. I hid underneath the covers and waited for it to be gone. I went back to sleep only hours later. The next morning, I told my sister what I saw entering her room. She told me that a man-fly attacked her in a nightmare, and the thing stung her in the neck.
Oh, ouch.
She had a big red rash in the place where she was stung. That made it more scary.
Yeah.
I drew her the man-fly type creature, and she told me, that's it. That's the thing that attacked me in the dream. Yikes.
Yeah.
My mom just had it with all the paranormal attacks and contacted a man she knew that could contact angels. She called him on the phone without me or my sister knowing about it. He did this thing remotely, unbeknownst to us, and God, I swear, no more paranormal activity. Everything went back to normal. My mom years later told us that when they bought the house, they were told that a man had committed suicide in it, and that would maybe explain why it was haunted. She also told us that the man she called invoked the Archangel Michael to clean up the house. That all began my journey to try and understand the paranormal. I've read books on demons, and when I saw that there was a demon called Beelzebub, the Lord of Flies, I went, wow, I really saw a demon. Since that day, I believed in God, demons, and angels.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. That's a crazy story, yeah.
Interesting.
I like how he had everything, too. He had the playful ghost with the ping pong, you know what I mean? And that sounded like the ghost just wanted to have some fun by moving. Mm-hmm. But then he also went to the serious route where I wonder if his and his sister's dreams are connected. Like the demon was having fun with both of them.
Yeah. Yep.
You know?
Yep. I'll have another Parashare deal here for us after this next story, but I do have a note from Patty. She wants to correct us a little bit on air.
Okay.
But Patty just doesn't understand your world, Bruiser.
She doesn't understand my world.
She doesn't understand your world. She doesn't understand your profession. It's okay, Patty.
Yeah.
But here she wants to correct you a little bit. She says,
Okay.
"Oh, by the way, to make sure your underwater needlepoint description's on point, haha, pun intended, 1 needle with a hook is crochet, 2 needles with hook is knitting, and 1 needle with an eye is needlepoint. Also tell Bruiser that if he uses plastic canvas for the underwater needle pointing, it'd be much easier, just saying."
Okay. I'll switch to the plastic canvas then.
There you go. So
Thank you, Patty.
just thought I'd let you know that. Yeah, we'll hear from Rodney coming up here after this next story. But yeah, I figured I'd pass on Patty's advice because
I love it. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm going to switch to plastic then.
Yeah, switch to that plastic. It's a lot easier. Let's see here. Quantum. It is not quando, but what do I know? Here's the deal, folks. We talk sometimes about quantum physics and the fact that quantum physics may have to do with an afterlife, but everything everywhere all at once is explained by a quantum physicist. The probability that we're all living in the multiverse and why that idea is so appealing is the subject of our next news story. This past weekend, it says, according to this guy who wrote the article, a couple of friends and I went to see Everything Everywhere at Once. I went in knowing 2 things about it. Actually, this movie's supposed to be really good.
I've heard this movie's fantastic. I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard it's fantastic.
He says, I went in knowing 2 things about it. The first was that the very talented and fantastic Michelle Yeoh, who I'm a huge fan of, was in it. And the second was that it involved the multiverse. As the credits rolled, and as the article jumped, evidently to a new multiverse, with tears trickling into my mask, I had a hard time discerning what was making me emotional. I say emotional because it wasn't just one feeling, but a strange mix of several: joy, wistfulness, catharsis, yearning, and hope. Without giving too much away, the very simple gist of this maximalist, fantastic tornado of a movie is about the choice to exist, to fully live within the present moment. It's about finding the beauty in our small, odd lives, even as we constantly compare what we have to our unfulfilled fantasies, something like that. The movie also examines how we take solace in the personal disasters we've narrowly avoided. But what makes Everything Everywhere All at Once so powerful is the multiverse, a dazzling antidote to the fact that real life these days feels like it's been designed to blur and pummel our emotions into dullness. What is the multiverse? For those of us who don't know, I think most of us do that listen to this program. He says a world full of endless potential, multiple parallel universes spinning in synchronicity, and the possibility that are of alternative, powerful, seemingly better versions, not bitter, they could be bitter.
They could be bitter ones.
Better versions of ourselves at a time when a pandemic, wars, and political cruelty have become constant, inevitable presences in our daily lives. It's the ultimate fantasy for this moment. And that's not just because Marvel, the most powerful entertainment company in the world, or even DC, let's throw them in there, has gone all in and made the multiverse a cornerstone of its current storytelling. It goes on to talk about it. That's not just one take, blah, blah, blah. In a better attempt as to say, he kind of goes on about the multiverse, but trying to understand it, the writer of the article reached out to Spiros Mikalakis, who is a mathematical physicist at the California Institute of Technology. He studies how the universe works at a quantum level and actually served as a science consultant for Marvel's Ant-Man.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, a movie about a man who can shrink and who can also affect space and time, which is to say that Mikalakis' scientific knowledge informed Marvel's multiverse, while he possesses a vast understanding of physics that dwarfs the writers. At several points in the chat, also told him he was absolutely blowing his mind. It was a very human understanding of the multiverse and the hope that it presents to worn down, burnt out humans that made the writer of the article understand it. So it's kind of a back and forth interview. So let's see if we can pull some points from it. He goes on to say,
well, I do want to say that Marvel's had the multiverse for years before the movies came out. Like that, that's always same with DC, because DC has a different Earths. So the multiverse is not a new concept in comic books.
That's true. That's true. So they go on to talk about the multiverse in what it actually is. He says that the multiverse emerged from some different ideas. The fact that you have a very basic concept in quantum physics known as quantum superposition. Okay. Quantum superposition basically says that what we think of as a single universe, the quantum superposition is the interference of an infinite number of universes. We're going to get deep here. Each of them has different things that are happening at some microscopic level. So when you zoom out from our microscopic human perspective, we get to see certain patterns like space and time and matter emerge, and particles that have some more definite positions in both space and time. So Marvel took to the heart of the idea that we can use the quantum realm to reverse engineer that single universe and split it apart into threads, and then explore each of these timelines individually for dramatic effect. So then the writer of the article says, well, I want to ask you about real science, and it's super silly for me to think that there's a different Alex in another alternative universe, or is that a leap too far? And then the scientist says to him, I really do think that this is absolutely what is going on.
Yeah.
So that there is alternative yous in different universes.
Well, that's how we get the Mandela effect.
Yes, that's the theory behind the Mandela effect.
Uh-huh.
And I actually, we were talking, I was talking with our guest yesterday, Wayne Hoffman, about my parents' senior moment at Easter, and I told you about it too.
Yep.
Which I honest to God thought they were putting me in a Mandela moment at Easter. It just turned out to be a huge senior moment. So he goes, the writer says, well, wait, how do you know that? Are you just being nice? He said, because I just said so, and that's all that matters. I love that the scientist goes, because I said so.
Yep. It's that old parent thing. Why do I have to do this? Because I said so, that's why.
But then he backs it up with, I don't know if you've ever heard of the double slit experiment in quantum physics.
I have not heard of this. I might have, but I haven't heard it called that.
Okay. So the double slit experiment, according to the scientists, is one of the most famous quantum experiments before quantum was even a thing. This gave us an inkling for the first time in human history that something was amiss with the way that we thought about the universe. Let me see if I click on this, if it'll give us an explanation of the double slit experiment. Here we go. So the double slit experiment is one of the most famous experiments in physics. It demonstrates with unparalleled strangeness that little particles of matter have something of a wave about them, and suggests that the very act of observing a particle has a dramatic effect on its behavior. To start off, imagine a wall with two slits in it. Okay. Imagine throwing tennis balls at the wall. Some will bounce off the wall and some will travel through the slits. Okay. If there's another wall behind the first wall, the tennis balls that have traveled through the slits will hit it. If you mark all the spots where a ball has hit the second wall, what do you expect to see? You expect to see two strips of marks roughly the same shape as the slits. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now imagine shining a light of a single color, okay, at a wall with two slits, where the distance between the slits is roughly the same as the light's wavelength. In the image, which you can't see, they show the light wave and where the wall is at the top. Again, it's this thing that you can't see. The wave passes through the slits and essentially splits into two new waves.
Right.
So each spreading out from one of the slits. These two waves then interfere with each other. And at some point where a peak meets a trough, they will cancel each other out. And at others where peak meets peak, and that's where they kind of, so, okay, to give you an idea. So two go in and they become three.
Right. Like a prism.
Yeah, like a prism. Exactly. You got it. So they'll kind of, where peak meets peak, they reinforce each other. So places where the waves reinforce each other give the brightest light. When the light meets a second wall placed behind the first, you'll see a stripy pattern called an interference pattern. The bright stripes come from where the waves are reinforcing each other. Okay. So essentially, that's a very detailed yet very vague way of saying that's the double slit.
Yeah. The double slit experiment.
Yeah, the double split experiment. So basically he goes on to talk about, and I'm going to wrap this up because it gets kind of, this, that, and the other. So he says, you can imagine like bullets or billiard balls, a bunch of them will either go to the right slit or the left slit, but then you see on the back wall, a bunch of them hitting the right or left. They actually tried to do that experiment. And what they saw was that on the back wall, you did not have the pattern you expected. You had waves. You had electron or the photon going through both slits at the same time, interfering with itself behind that wall, and then hitting the other wall as if it was a wave. Think about it. Like you have water and waves going through two slits, and then you can see the crests rising and falling depending on how the interference flows. That was what was happening with actual physical particles, one at a time.
Okay.
So this scientist is saying he very much believes that there's quantum physics and there's quantum realities and there are a multiverse.
I 100% believe in multiverse. I've heard someone describe too that if you ever have deja vu, that's you experiencing the different universe.
Yeah.
And then of course the Mandela effect, which everyone should know about, that's the universe is combining,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I believe in multiverse. I believe there's more of us out there.
I'm coming around to it a little bit more than I used to. I really do believe that a lot of people, when they yell Mandela effect, you can shoot it down quite quickly.
I believe that too.
A lot of people misremember what they think is Mandela effect.
Yes.
Like, I thought that guy died so and so many years ago, and you can back it up with facts. You can go, no, you know what? They did a project in 1997. They didn't die in 97. You can go back to, and you can show them solid evidence that somebody they thought died was actually still alive.
Yeah, but I like I said, I still believe in the multiverse. Like, I've had a Mandela effect experience. Obviously Berenstain Bears is one, because I remember it one way. And
yeah, that one is
Star Wars. The Return was the Empire Strikes Back. What he says and all that. And
yeah, the I am your father.
Yeah. Payless Shoes store is another one. I remember.
What was the Payless Shoes one?
The way it's spelled, the way the sign is. If you look it up.
Really? I'll look it up off air. I don't remember that one. I don't remember.
Yeah.
That one.
The guy who really got me into the Mandela effect, Hunter Delirious, the old booker from Ring of Honor, he's the one that explained that all to me. And we sat for 4 hours one time at pre-tapes, just looking up Mandela effect stuff. And that's how I got really interested in the multiverse. And hopefully someday I can get him on the show, but he's very versed in the different multiverses and the stuff that happens. And that's where I found out deja vu is actually a slip in the multiverse too, where something's happening in a different dimension, I'll call it. And then it slips over, and that's how you have the deja vu, where this has happened before. And that's because it has happened in a different universe of the multiverse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. And yeah, we'll have Hunter on sometime. We'll shoot the breeze about multiverses and stuff like that. Sounds like a plan.
He's a very to himself, quiet guy, but he's so knowledgeable and stuff like this, And I've been begging him because he doesn't do interviews, and I've been begging him. You got it, man. Like, you're so knowledgeable in this stuff.
We'll have him on sometime on Supernatural News. We'll shoot the shit.
Yeah,
sounds like a plan.
I'll bug him.
Sounds like a plan. Let's do another Parashare here. This comes from R. Barry, who says, okay, Tim, I know this sounds crazy, but I've been contemplating that some shadow people are in actuality two-dimensional beings accidentally drawn into a portal. Okay. See how I'm bringing it around? See what I'm doing?
Yep.
Okay. I know that you were like, what was that bullshit about quantum physics, blah, 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 and portals? And this is why I brought this back around. Okay, Tim, I know this sounds crazy, but I've been contemplating that some shadow people are in actuality two-dimensional beings accidentally drawn into a portal to our three-dimensional world. That may explain their need to hide or fear humans because we are as strange to them as they are to us, and they're stuck in our three-dimensional plane of existence, or humans not moving on in two-dimensional with height, length, but no width.
That's an interesting theory.
It is.
Like that, I could get behind that. Yeah. I don't know what else to say, but yeah, I can see that. Because when you experience shadow people, it is. There's no width to them. It's just a height and length.
I get where...
But I don't... What portal are they? And they're like, is there a two-dimensional world? You know what I mean? Like,
then you're talking about a layering effect of world on top of world.
Exactly.
Because there's no portal to come through.
Yeah.
Because technically they exist on top of everything else. You talk about, like, say, Ohio State Reformatory. I mean, they're existing at the same time. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, they're everywhere inside the jail.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they live on top of everything else. But they also...
But if they're coming through the portal, you'd see the portal before you saw them, wouldn't you, technically?
Not necessarily, no. Because portals aren't, unless you're somewhat psychically gifted, they don't appear to the human eye.
Okay.
So, I mean, you know, you wouldn't necessarily see a portal, but, you know, I just take it as, you know, they live.
I'm going to look more into this theory. This theory's got me intrigued. So you said it was Barry, our Barry. You got me intrigued. I'm gonna look into this. This is, I don't know if I'm 100% behind this theory, but I'm intrigued enough to look more into it.
Two-dimensional beings accidentally drawn into a portal into our three-dimensional world.
Right.
I like it. Hey, I won't discount it.
I won't either. Like I said, I'm gonna do a little more. If they're the only one that thinks that, or if there's an actual theory out there.
I like it. Hey, I wouldn't throw it out with the bathwater. Not at all.
No. Mm-mm. And it's great too that you're thinking outside the box too. Yeah. Because nobody knows what shadow people are. That's a common thing in the paranormal world. Right. There's so many different theories on shadow people.
Yeah.
You know, and shadow people can be scary to see too, because you don't know what it is. It's a dark thing in front of you.
That's
you
right.
know.
That's right.
I've experienced numerous shadow people, as you have too, and it's.
Oh yeah, they don't like me. No.
That's right. You're saying they don't come in the room when you're there. You said you're a shadow person repellent, if I remember correct.
I am. Yeah, they run from me. Yeah, they don't like me. They don't like me. I
remember you telling me that story. You are the best way to put it is Tim is shadow person repellent.
That's right, like shark repellent. Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, then you stay away while I'm investigating this theory, okay? Because I need shadow people in order to do this theory.
Somebody had asked me, well, if you get they misunderstood me. They said, well, if you get rid of shadow people, why don't you come over to this place and get rid of the shadow people for me? I said, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, you don't get rid of them. They just avoid you.
I'm like bug spray.
Yes.
Like if you're wearing bug spray, how mosquitoes don't land on you.
Yes.
That's kind of how it works.
So when we're doing investigations, guaranteed no shadow people if Tim's in the room. Tim leaves the room.
That's right. I leave the room, they come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me that. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got to stay away from this theory. Well, I'm trying to prove this theory. You can't be anywhere near, because that means the shadow people don't want to come.
Yeah. What's funny is I can look at them and they run.
Really?
Yeah. So if I sit there, I should clarify. If I sit there with like I cover my eyes like this, they'll still start to come around. But if I turn and look at them. So
if you and I are in an investigation, we're sitting next to each other, and we blindfold you, let's say.
There's like
they'll make an appearance.
There's a feet and radius thing to it too. Because when I was, again, I'll use the Ohio State Reformatory reference. I was at in the administration building. You've got that big staircase, that split level staircase that goes between the first and second level. I'm sitting at the bottom of the staircase, and I'm sitting turned sideways at the staircase, bottom of the staircase. And they're up, you've got that huge wall that's nothing but glass, that glass wall.
Okay, yeah.
They're sitting there walking back and forth.
Yeah.
Crossing that window. And as they're doing that, walking back and forth across that window, I'm not looking at them. And they're like, Tim, look at the shadow people walking back and forth across the picture window or whatever you want to call it. They're walking back and forth across the glass. You can see them. I said, I'm not going to look. They said, why? And I said, if I look, they'll run away. They're like, whatever. I'm like, no, you want to see them? You want to see them disappear?
So you turn around.
Yeah. So I turned around and looked at them, and they scattered like roaches.
This makes me want to do an investigation with you where we blindfold you and see what shadow people come, and then unblindfold you, see how they react. I mean, we know how they're going to react, but have you ever figured out why? Or is it just it's always been that way?
Oh, I know why, but I don't.
I mean, we can talk it off air, but
yeah, we'll talk about it off air. But yeah,
that's so cool. Yeah. I mean,
But I mean, that's why I won't discount anybody's theory as to where these things come from, but yeah. But it's an interesting theory. There's 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional.
Now, are you the only person that you know of that does this, or are there other people you know of that shadow people?
No, there are plenty of others people that it happens to. Plenty of others.
Okay.
Because I have people who email me who tell me, oh yeah, it happens to me too.
So that might put a hole in this theory. Whether they're just accidentally. It could. Again, this is we just found out. You and I just found out about this theory. So
yeah, we just found out about the theory. I wouldn't discount it.
I don't. I'm not either. But
I think the portal part of it is sound. 2-dimensional is sound.
Yep.
I still think there's still sound things about the theory, so I won't shoot it down. No.
Yeah. But
I think there's other things to it.
I think there is too, but I'm curious. I'm going to look into this theory, and I find it fascinating that there's people like you that the shadow people just want nothing to do with.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, R. Barry, for sharing. That's intriguing thoughts that we can mull over until next week. That's for sure. Got an interesting story here about sound waves being used to destroy tumors, and not only just destroying tumors and cancerous tumors, but it keeps cancer from coming back.
Oh, okay. I've heard them use sound waves to destroy tumors.
Yes.
I haven't heard about preventing cancer with it or having it not come back.
Yeah. Scientists from the University of Michigan have found an inventive way to get rid of liver tumors for good. Their latest animal study shows that non-invasive sound technology effectively destroyed 50 to 75% of the cancerous mass. By destroying a majority of the tumor, the immune system is capable of eliminating the rest and preventing the disease from spreading. Liver cancer is one of the top 10 causes of cancer-related deaths worldwide. Despite multiple treatment options, it continues to have a 5-year survival rate of less than 18% in the United States. There's also a high rate of tumor recurrence and a high risk of it spreading to other parts of the body. However, in the current study, over 80% of mice exposed to targeted sound waves did not show any evidence of the tumor coming back. Even if we don't target the entire tumor, we can still cause the tumor to regress and also reduce the risk of future metastasis. I'm having a hard time with the words today, Bruiser.
English is failing you today.
That's right. It fails me like my body. That, according to study co-author Zhen Zhu, I can pronounce that, professor of biomedical engineering at Michigan. The sound treatment is known as histotripsy. It uses ultrasound waves to physically destroy the targeted tissue with millimeter precision. It also stimulated the rat's immune system to respond and contribute to the regression of the untargeted portion of the tumor. It also caused them to buy a lowrider with subs. So who knew? That's part of it too. But yeah, interesting study.
Have you ever done sound therapy where you sit in a room and they do the bowls and the gongs and stuff and it's like a form of meditation? Have you ever done that before?
No, I've seen it, but I've never done it.
I've experienced it, and it's surprisingly very relaxing and very cleansing.
Really?
Yeah. I did it in Arizona. And it was, at first I was like, I don't know. I'm not really, but I'm willing to try new things.
Yeah.
And afterwards I felt refreshed. I felt energized, so I don't know if that's the same, same theory, but I know sound therapy it works. I've done it and it works.
Huh.
It helps with pain.
Really?
It helps with anxiety. It helps with depression, all that. Yeah. I felt amazing afterwards.
I got to try me some then, because I got plenty of that pain stuff. I got
all
pain
you got
for
to do
days.
is lay in a room and someone does it with the bowls and the different gongs and stuff, and you just sit and focus on the sounds, and Tim, you feel amazing afterwards.
Huh. I'll have to try it. That's for sure. Speaking of sounds, it's that time once again, Bruiser,
where we have to warn the world that AI's come to kill us.
It's a time to climb into my anxious spot. It's just not fair, Bruiser. It's not fair. Why don't people learn?
You're going to need sound therapy after this story, aren't you?
Yep. I might have told you this story already. Google is trying to teach AI to explain jokes to you. Did I tell you that?
Yeah.
Did we cover that?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's throw that one out then. Here's the one story that really gets me. There are 6 ways that robots are working in the background to serve you food. No, just don't do it.
Yeah, don't mess with our food. They're trying to poison us.
Throughout the pandemic, restaurants and supermarkets have increasingly turned to automation and robots to deal with ongoing labor shortages in the service industry. Just come back to the food industry, people.
Yeah, the wages are high now. Come on back. Screw up my order. Come on.
Wages are surpassing $15 an hour on average. I know inflation is hitting us, but they want to pay you to help us, people.
Yeah. Please help us.
Please help us.
Please, when I ask for no tomatoes, leave the tomato on the sandwich. I'd rather deal with you than a robot.
That's right. We'll be good.
Yeah.
We'll be good. We won't yell at you anymore.
And on my daughter's campus, she goes to Arizona State. Mm-hmm. They have drones, like little. I'll have to show you a video she sent me that deliver food.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I'm like, doesn't that scare you? She goes, Dad, you scare me. I'm like, well, yeah, because I don't want my daughter to die because some drone comes and takes her away.
That's right.
Yes.
They may think the dog's a meal.
Exactly.
Executives are eager to lower labor costs. Of course they are. They always have been. The mention of automation on earnings rose 67% from 4,706 in 2017 to 7,042 in 2021, according to transcripts compiled by Centio, a financial services company. They even sound evil.
Yeah.
Unlike big showy tech innovations like the cautionary tale of Zune Pizza, a buzzy Silicon Valley company with $1 billion valuation that had ambitions to use robots to cook pizzas on the delivery route, but flamed. Yeah, I know, right? But
so we're giving them, they're cooking on the way. That means they have the means to basically light us on fire.
But they flamed out, Bruiser. They flamed out after growing too fast, too quickly, and ultimately pivoted to become a food packaging company in 2020.
Okay,
So
that's fine. You can package food.
Yeah. Automation is now creeping into the service industry in more subtle ways. Tech tools are replacing specific and often arduous tasks, often out of sight of customers. The idea that technology is like check-in kiosks free up workers to deliver a better experience to customers. That said, efficiency created by automation will likely lead to fewer positions overall. This according to Daniel Zhao, a senior economist at Glassdoor a job site that, if you've ever been to, gives you a lot of information about the economy and exactly what kind of jobs you can get for what kind of money.
Yeah.
And competing wages in different markets. It's actually very, very helpful. Here are the kind of jobs that an ambitious young robot can get in the service industry right now. Let's count them down real quick, shall we?
Let's do it. Let's see how we're going to die.
Brewing coffee. Panera Bread announced this week that 2 locations are brewing coffee automatically. So now your coffee's going to suck.
It's going to hand you a 1 billion degree coffee so you burn your insides.
Yep. More sites are expected to do this later this year. The cafe chain partnered with Miso Robotics, which uses artificial intelligence to monitor the volume, temperature, and time to know when to brew a new batch. Supposedly eliminates the need for staff to manually check on the coffee throughout the day. The cost of this technology is a few $100s a month. Median 2020 pay for service workers there at Panera, $11.60 an hour.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Cooking your fries. Miso Robotics, you're going to hear this name a lot, has deployed robots called Flippy 2 to serve as fry cooks at some 100 White Castle locations. I used to love you, White Castle.
Yeah, but now you got robots, so I can't eat there anymore.
The robot uses AI to identify the type of food, chicken fingers, french fries, pick it up, add it to a fryer basket, then place it in a hot holding area. Flippy 2 can also operate without human intervention. Costs start at $3,000 per month. That comes after White Castle increased the minimum wage at Detroit locations to $15 an hour last May. Meanwhile, Chipotle is testing robots.
Oh, I love Chipotle. Please, no.
Also from Miso Robotics to make tortilla chips after raising the national average wage to $15 an hour last June, up from $13 an hour.
Why are we giving robots burning oil to throw at us?
I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question.
That's what we're doing. We're giving them fryer oil to throw at us.
We're giving them knives. We're giving them oil.
Yeah.
Median 2020 pay for cooks, $13.10 an hour. Bruiser.
What? Oh, no.
Slicing deli meat.
Oh, see? There's the knives.
We're putting robots over there at Albertsons. You might as well.
You know, in a year from now, we're going to have a story about how a robot sliced off a guy's arm.
Or his junk.
And then put it in the deep fryer.
That's right. Put it in a deep fryer and made a tortilla chip out of it. The biggest tortilla chip, the biggest Rocky Mountain oyster you've even ever ate.
It's a whole new meaning to chicken finger.
At Chipotle, which doesn't even serve them.
Yeah, you're at Chipotle, they give you chicken, or they give you Rocky Mountain oysters.
And a Rocky Mountain oyster taco from Chipotle. Or burrito.
Spencer.
Oh, can you imagine biting into a burrito over at Chipotle and you get a Rocky Mountain oyster?
Oh!
Ooh.
And then you see the guy behind the counter wearing like a gauze diaper.
From an inventory and productivity perspective, we simplified tasks and automated production planning in our fresh departments, resulting in higher in-stock conditions and more time for customer interactions. Blah, blah, blah. Vivek Sankaran said on a conference call with investors. For example, in the deli, we installed auto slicers and stackers and implemented production planning tools that increase blah, 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 blah. $15.82 an hour to get your nuts sliced off.
Why are we giving robots weapons?
I don't know. Amazon began operating cashierless grocery stores in 2018 in Seattle. Did you see the Saturday Night Live bit on this?
No, I haven't. I heard it's hilarious, though.
Oh my God. It's the whole go into the store operated by Amazon with no checkout, and all you got to do is just grab your stuff and walk out, and it'll scan automatically for you.
Really?
Except for the African American population goes in and they're afraid to leave because they're afraid they're going to get arrested.
Yeah.
It's great. It's a great bit. It was one of the funniest bits of Saturday Night Live's recent I'll
look
past.
it up on the YouTube.
Yeah, just put in Amazon SNL and it's Amazon Store SNL, and it's one of the funniest bits ever. So part of the boom in self-checkout technology is consumers' growing reliance on digital payments, and that's part of the bit as well. Supposedly you just hold up your Amazon app and you've got your stuff and it figures it out. Yeah. No need for cashiers, no need for anything else. Just walk in, grab your stuff. They're saving a whole $12.03 an hour.
Oh, come on.
On cashiers over there at Amazon. Checking you in, restaurants have increasingly turned to automating aspects of front of house operations like diner check-in process. That's right. Peter Newland, CEO. What's that?
which fails. We've experienced this where you check in on the app. So we checked in on the app and we were going to get there, and about an hour went by and we still hadn't checked in. It's because we were still in the queue. We didn't hit the button to go through.
Yep.
So I will take human interaction over computer error anytime.
Take a human any day. Peter Newland, CEO of Bird Call, a chicken sandwich restaurant chain with locations.
That's a great name.
Bird Call.
For chicken sandwiches.
Bang. A chicken sandwich restaurant. I would not eat at a Bird Call. That doesn't. No.
I think it's great.
It just reminds you of how they got the chicken over there to kill it.
I'm okay with that. I can watch my food being made.
I can't. I can't. I'm a kosher guy myself. A chicken sandwich restaurant chain with locations in Colorado and Arizona says you're using technology to solve operational problems, not to drive customer demand. $12.50 an hour is all they pay their employees.
People.
Yeah, the chicken people. Now they're just having computers do it.
No.
Delivering your food.
That's where my daughter comes in. She has these little pods.
Walmart announced it's operating autonomous trucks.
Oh no.
It's time for Tracy Morgan just to stay in his apartment forever.
I was going to say, didn't Tracy Morgan have an incident with that?
Yep. Autonomous trucks without a safety driver behind the wheel.
Oh no.
Yeah. They did. They tested it recently on a 7-mile route behind. If ever there is a need for this music, it's now. On a 7-mile route between a distribution center and a Walmart store in Arkansas. The goal is to increase speed while carrying out e-commerce orders, according to the retail giant. That comes after Ocado, a British online grocer, said last October it is testing self-driving delivery vans and aims to expand the technology to the U.S. Albertsons in March of 2021 after testing autonomous grocery delivery in Northern California with remotely operated carts delivering up to 120 pounds of groceries to customers' homes. Yet you still see stories about like cops stopping cars with no drivers in them.
Yeah.
Drivers have been
on the Arizona State. They have their pods. They look like, the best way to describe them is coolers with wheels. And so you put your order in, and then you put your address, and then the cart comes to you, and then it goes back to its little charging station.
Didn't Domino's just give up on those?
Yeah.
Drivers have been in short supply for years. The industry is short 80,000 drivers in the U.S. Could have something to do with gas prices. I'm just saying. Which could increase with more drivers retiring. Median pay for daily or delivery truck drivers is only $16.51 an hour.
That's it?
That's it. That could be half your problem.
Yeah.
Just saying. Let's get rid of this music. People are probably sick of it by now. I'm just sick to my stomach about...
We'll see if I can find you a picture of those little pods I was talking about. Here we go. I don't know if you can... that's me. That's my daughter was... So that's what they look like.
Okay.
You see that there, Tim?
Let me pull up my messenger here.
Oh, you want me to? I can send it to you. Hold on.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're trying to show me over.
I was going to show you on here, but I can show you a messenger.
Yeah,
too.
you can show me.
There, I just sent it to you.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully, it says it's sending, but it's a little video. So what? the backstory to the video that people can't see is my daughter on Easter. She lives by my parents, and they.
Oh, there it is. It's got sound. It's got a lot of sound here.
So they decided to go to an Asian restaurant, and they had mini octopuses that were alive. So my daughter and her friends all stole a bunch of these mini octopuses, and we're putting them all over campus. But if you look, you'll see those little automated pods. That's what delivers their food.
Okay.
And they're called starships.
Okay.
So you put your order in. They put the order in this pod. It drives to your campus, your location. You take your food out, and then it drives back and it charges. So they just decided to put octopuses all over them. Yeah, everywhere you go on their campus, you'll see hundreds of these little things just driving around. It's crazy.
Well, that's your AI news for this week.
That's your terror.
That's your terror. Let's lighten it up a little, shall we? I think now my nerves are shot. I need a little happy news. Let's end today on happy news, shall we?
Yes, let's do that.
Let's do that. A 21-year-old Chihuahua has been confirmed as the world's oldest dog. If you're ready for this, here's the Guinness World Records Instagram with a little bit of audio from the world's oldest dog.
My name is Gisela Shore, and this is my 21-year-old dog, Toby Keith.
Toby Keith.
He was born January 9th, 2001. He's been with me since he was a puppy.
Aww.
He's in pretty good health considering his age.
Toby Keith. Bet you he loves beer.
He's got
a lot of sleeping. But other than that, he's doing great.
He's 21, lady. Of course he sleeps.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to get to that age.
Yeah, right?
We just sleep all day.
That's right.
You get to sleep, cuss at children, and wear diapers.
That's right. That is the golden years, isn't it? Yes. Gisela Shore, who you heard in that video of Green Acres, said she adopted Toby Keith from a shelter when he was only a few months old. She said she was a volunteer at Peggy Adams Animal Rescue, and one of the employees told her about an elderly couple trying to surrender a puppy because they couldn't take care of him any longer. He was a puppy.
It was
Didn't even give him a chance. Poor Toby Keith. She said, I met with the elderly couple and I was introduced to a tiny tan Chihuahua. They had named him Peanut Butter. I later changed his name to Toby Keith.
Both are good names. Both
right.
are great names.
And later the dog said, I love this bar. Shore said she later started to suspect Toby Keith might be the oldest dog in the world when he turned 20. Guinness and its Book of World Records confirmed that Toby Keith's age as 21 years and 66 days on March 16th of this year, confirming his status as the oldest dog living. Chihuahuas typically live to only be 12 to 18 years old.
Oh, well, good for Toby.
So Toby is like the Yoda of Chihuahuas.
Yeah, happy birthday, Toby.
Yeah, happy birthday, Toby. People can't believe how good he looks for his age, Shore said. The oldest dog ever recorded was an Australian cattle dog named Bluey. That's the color blue, Bruiser.
Oh, okay.
The color blue.
Oh, see, I went the other way.
Yeah, see, I would have too if I would have just heard the name, not read it. The canine died at the age of 29 years and 5 months on November 14th of 1939. So there you go.
Well, hopefully Toby can give him a run for his money.
That's right. A pet psychic's greedy, in quotes, dog interrupted a morning show segment. I got to play the audio. This one's too good to believe. Are you ready for this?
Let's do it.
Here we go.
Estimated 17 million households in the UK owning some sort of pet. It's fair to say we are a nation of animal lovers, but have you ever wondered what your furry friends are thinking?
Yeah, pet psychic Bethany Crowther says she's been able to communicate with animals since a very young age and believes anyone can learn to do the same.
Well, lucky for us, she's written it all down in her latest book, Everything You Need to Know to Become a Pet Psychic. And welcome, Beth. And you've brought a lovely little doggy along.
I have indeed. This is Misty.
Oh, she's lovely. And Beth, so how did you know and when did you start talking to animals?
Well, I've always been in tune with animals since a child, and I just thought that it was normal to hear their thoughts and know how they were feeling, and also like have a conversation with them in my mind from a child. It wasn't until I got older.
Okay, so now the dog is moving away from her.
People weren't doing the same as what I was doing.
So what made you know? What was the kind of the switch, I guess, when you realised that you were actually communicating to your pet at the time? And what pet did you have at the time? Was it a dog or
I'd got cats and a rabbit.
Now the dog is off the couch and on the floor.
Quite a lot at the local stables, and I was riding a pony called Toby, and he was sort of sharing with me that his
now the dog is walking off set.
He got a bad back, he got a pain in his leg,
and behind the couch.
And my friend who was riding her pony I said to her, "What does your pony say to you when you're riding?" And she sort of looked, in complete
the dog is
surprise.
walking off set
like, what
now.
do you mean? My pony doesn't say anything to me. So it sort of became more apparent then that it was me having those thoughts.
I believe you there, because my auntie used to speak to the horses and she'd be out there for absolute hours.
And the host is looking around.
Misty is thinking right now, because she's actually done a runner.
I'll be honest with you, I'll tell you what Misty's thinking.
Sorry.
Misty's thinking, I love what... Misty's dived into Ainsley's chicken. That's what Misty's thinking. Misty has dived into the chicken.
She's very greedy.
Has she weed?
Misty,
no, it's not
the
weed.
dog is in the kitchen.
Misty's taking a little dive for the chicken there.
Wow, look at everyone frantically clearing up. That's absolutely brilliant. Just make sure that Ainsley makes another casserole, please, because I don't want that one. Misty, come on.
Misty, come on. Good girl.
Here you go.
Good girl.
There we go.
Because she's a rescue dog.
She's strutting her stuff.
She's been
Now the dog is running into the audience.
Having a whale of a time.
Of course she is. She's had the chicken cooked by Ainsley Harrier
She's got a full belly, hasn't she? Yeah, Misty, come on.
Oh, dear.
There you go.
And Beth, what are other people's reactions to your
How
television?
the dog is running around the set. The
people
psychic's
love
doing
it, really,
nothing.
Because often when I'm telling people about what I do, they can't wait to get the phone out and show me a photograph of their pet, and they want to know all about them, their background, maybe any health issues. But of course, I'm not a vet, of course. But anything that they're thinking about. But also, your pets know a lot about you and what's happening around you, what's coming up for you in the future. So it's an amazing thing to do. And of course, I want to share that with everybody else, because I believe if you're open-minded, if you're an animal lover, you can do this too.
Yeah, Beth, Misty's found the bar. Which is obviously a talent. But if we can all do it, where do we start? How do we get ourselves in line telepathically?
Yes.
Or in the same... I don't know, on the same wavelength.
This dog just continues to wander throughout the set. It's an amazing
nobody's doing
thing.
anything about it?
No, and she continues to chatter and chatter and chatter. It's an amazing thing, to be honest with you. Vernon Kay and Josie Gibson, the temporary hosts of ITV's, and temporary is stressed here, the temporary hosts of ITV's This Morning, while regular team Holly Willoughby and Philip Schofield are on vacation, brought Beth Lee Crowther, probably the worst psychic on the planet, animal psychic on the planet.
She's not a vet.
No, she's not a vet, on the show Wednesday morning to talk about her purported ability to communicate telepathically with animals. The segment was interrupted when Lee Crowther's dog Misty dashed away from the couch and went wandering around the studio. Now, you would have thought before any of this happened, she would have thought, you know what, the dog's bored as hell. Right?
Yeah, because she's a psychic.
Yeah, and the dog has no attention span. Oh, by the way, the dog's going to get up and wander around the set. The cameras caught the moment Misty found her way to the set's kitchen and raided a chicken dish intended for a cooking segment later in the show. The footage shows stagehands taking the dish away from the dog and attempting to herd Misty back to the couch. What do you think Misty is thinking right now? Because she's actually done a runner, Gibson asks Lee Crowther in the clip. I'll tell you what Misty is thinking. Misty has tucked into Ainsley's chicken, Kay says. Misty returned to Lee Crowther, and the segment continued. Misty's very greedy because she's rescued. She's a good girl. She's had a hard life, Lee Crowther says in the video. Sorry about the chicken. How about sorry you didn't, I don't know, maybe put a leash on her during the segment?
Why didn't you have a leash on the dog or hold the dog or do something? And if you're a psychic, you should know the dog's hungry.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Or you know, the dog maybe you should have had some treats. You know, while you're out there, keep a handful of treats so the dog's,
I feel bad for the cook that had to do the cooking segment after that.
Look at this lovely.
Bloody hell! This dog just ate my chicken.
Look at this dish. This dish is lovely, except for the paw prints and a little bit of a snout print in here where the dog's been eaten. But otherwise, it's a perfectly good presentation. So not the greatest pet psychic in the world. I don't know that I'd go out and purchase her book so much after that, that segment. But there you go. That pretty much wraps up Supernatural News today.
What a great note to end on.
Yeah, if you're going to be a pet psychic, at least show off your wares on live TV by knowing what the dog's thinking. Just saying.
And now she has a feud with some cook.
Yeah. Now she's, I don't know that she should be doing the talk show circuit with an actual live pet.
No.
You, if you're going to bring a live pet on, at least do that. You know what I want to do on this show? If I do a pet psychic, I've got, we got chipmunks here at the house that we domesticated. I want them to read the chipmunks' minds.
That's perfect.
I want to know what's up with Chip and Swish.
There you go. See, I don't want to know what's going on in my cat's mind. My cat is an idiot, so I don't. I know what's going on in his mind. Durr.
You think, or
oh yeah,
would it?
An idiot. I love him to death.
Would it freak you out if you found out that the cat actually secretly wanted to smother both of you in your sleep?
Well, no, that wouldn't surprise me 100%. I always tell my wife, when you die, he's going to eat you.
Okay. Now we're going to get emails on that, but for the longest time, I've been saying on this show, when it comes down to it, cat or dog, the cat's going to eat you before a dog ever will.
I agree. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The dog will nudge you to try and play with you, and then after a while, the dog's just going to get hungry and eat you. The cat is planning on eating you now.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with, and believe me, folks, it's not that I hate cats. I don't hate cats. I'm allergic to them, but I like cats.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, cats come from lions and tigers, and they're natural predators.
Yep.
Now, I know that dogs come from wolves, but wolves are pack animals.
Yes.
And they tend to look out for their own. And when you own a dog, they look at you as one of their own. They look to you as a pack leader.
Yep. Cats don't.
Cats don't.
No, in fact, I always tell my wife when my cat jumps up on her stomach and he'll knead her, because, cats do that. I go, all he's doing is tenderizing you.
That's right. Yeah.
It's waiting for you to die.
Yeah. And the only reason a cat feels an allegiance to you is because you're feeding them.
Yeah, you have to feed them. Yep.
Yeah. The minute you stop feeding them, they look at you as an adversary.
And I want to go on record. I love my cat. My cat Bruiser is the coolest cat in the world. But yeah, I'm fully expected. If I die in the house, he's going to eat me.
Yeah. It won't take long. The minute they run out of food, you're food.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Yeah.
I don't need a psychic to tell me that.
No, I mean, it's the law of the jungle.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And folks, I mean, I'm not being a dick here. It's just, it doesn't take an animal psychic. It just takes anyone who knows psychology of animals.
Yeah.
That's the law of the jungle. And we tend to humanize it a little too much sometimes. Yeah. That's just how nature works.
And I know my cat loves me. I mean, he does things where, okay, yeah, he loves me. But I also know that if I die, he's going to eat me. This is the way it is.
I mean, like I have domesticated chipmunks outside, but I don't think that,
they won't eat you.
No, they won't eat me. But I don't think they sit in their hole during the winter wondering what I'm doing.
No, they don't.
No. They're sleeping. They're hibernating.
Yeah.
And I don't think they woke up, a week ago going, I wonder where the fat guy is. I miss him so much.
Yeah.
They went, hey, where's the guy with the seeds?
Yeah.
They're looking for me because they're looking for food.
See, now I do know that my cat knows when I'm gone. So if I'm on the road for a while and come back, he is angry at me. And it'll take a while before I have to give him belly rubs before he forgives me.
Yeah.
But I'm not taking away from the fact that he will eat me if I die. Not taking that away. Yeah. And I love him. He's a great cat. He's an amazing cat. But my wife thinks, he'd never do anything like that. No, yeah, he will. He will 100%.
Yep.
I'm not saying he'll do it in our sleep. He'll wait till we're dead.
Yeah. Yeah, he'll make sure you're dead.
Yeah.
But the minute he knows you're dead, you're done.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, folks. A dog will eat you too.
But a dog will take longer.
That's right.
Will want to play with you. When you're not playing back, the dog will find some other way to eat something. And then when it's absolutely starving, it'll eat you.
Exactly.
A cat will feel your pulse, feel you have no pulse, and go, cool, dinner time.
Yep. The dog will at least, go through the garbage.
Yeah, or eat its own poo.
Yeah. But then when it's tired of that, it'll go, dipshit's dead.
Yep.
Yep. That's
and if you have a cat and dog, the cat will convince the dog to eat you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There you go. Well, on that cheery note, I was going to end with something nice. I turned it into something bad. I'm sorry.
Well, if you want to see cute pictures of my cat, go on my Instagram. He's all over.
There you go.
Bruiser.
There you go.
He's cute and cuddly. There you go.
You can look at Bruiser's Bruiser and just forget that this conversation ever happened.
Yeah.
Or if you just want to tell me to F off, it's tim@darknessradio.com. That's also the address if you've got Parashare stories. We'd like to get your Parashare stories in here. We read a couple today. But again, Parashare stories is what we're looking for. and Tim at darknessradio.com. We also got a line you can call, folks. That line, I believe, is, what is it, 651-300-4977? Is that what it is? You remember, Bruiser?
I'm going to say sure.
Sure. No, that line is, I'm bringing it up right now. Yes, 651-300-4977, 651-300-4977. You can call in, give us your experience. If it's a 3-minute loop. So if you go past 3 minutes, you can call back, continue your story where you left off. I'll stitch that together. We'll play your story over the air, and we will weigh in on that story as well. But we want your Parashare stories, folks. We didn't forget that there's a Parashare part to your story here on air, and we'll weigh in on it. We'll tell you if you want our advice. We'll weigh in on your story as well, or we'll just hear your story out. But we want your Parashare stories here on Darkness Radio. We want to hear from you, the listener. That's for sure. We're going to wrap it up right here. Another great show is on tap for tomorrow here on Darkness Radio. You know, we've had a pretty good week so far here with Wayne Hoffman, the end of her supernatural news here today. And then tomorrow, Bruiser, I don't know what you think about romantic trysts with ghosts.
I've heard people have that. I for one don't.
Would you ever? I mean, I'm not saying, but God forbid the wife passed away. Would there ever be a chance of a tryst on the other side?
No, because I know it would be my wife's ghost because she'd just nag me.
Oh God! There's no romantic chance that, you'd continue the...
Her ghost wouldn't do that, trust me. Her ghost would not do that.
I'm talking a lifetime romance here. I mean...
Oh, yeah, we're in love with each other. We love each other. We have a great romance, but I just know her ghost would nag me to do the dishes or something. Okay. I can't wait for her to hear this episode.
Yeah, she's going to love you after this. The ghost marriage is tomorrow. I tried to make it sound all sweet.
And I ruined it.
Yeah. Chris, I can't even get into the spirit of what we're going for here tomorrow. Kristen Micklewaitis is our guest. Micklewait is our guest. The ghost marriage is what we're talking about tomorrow. And we'll get into it as to what exactly the ghost marriage is and the story of the ghost marriage and how exactly you fall in love on the other side.
I'm curious to hear about this.
Yeah, so that's coming up tomorrow on Darkness Radio. For Beer City Bruiser, I'm Tim Dennis. Thank you guys so much. And you know what? I want to add just a quick note in there and thank you guys so much for subscribing, for liking the show, and for adding your comments in as well on the show. Give us a 5-star review if you feel so inclined to do so. We'd appreciate it if you would. Again, for Beer City Bruiser, I'm Tim Dennis. Thank you so much for listening to the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio.